Good evening, all. Welcome to TCSNQT 2026 coding training, day 4. Hope you are all doing well. So, audio, is it clear? Am I clear? Is my audio clear to you? Yes, audio clear. Okay, so we'll start today's session. Okay, so we'll try to solve some more TCSNQT previous year questions today. So let me share the screen to you. So this is one of the previous coding question asked on day 1 slot 1 of a September month exam. So the problem statement is given like this. A chocolate factory is packing chocolates into packets. So the chocolate packets here represent an array of n number of integer values. So here the packets represents the array containing n number of integer values. Okay, so that means each packet contains some n integer values. So the task is to find the empty packets of chocolate and push it to the end of the conveyor belt. That means array. So your array is considered as the conveyor belt. So if you find any empty packets, because empty packets should not go into the market. Okay, so they need to be removed out. No? So that's why here they want to remove such empty packets of chocolates and they want to push them to the end of the conveyor belt or end of the array. So here our task is to move all zeros to end of the array. Okay, so example see here, n given as 8 here, n indicates the number of elements in the array and this is the array given here. Okay, so 4, 5, 0, 1, 9, 0, 5 and again 0. So like this, each one represents the packet of chocolates. Okay, that means in first packet it contains 4 chocolates, in second packet it contains 5 chocolates. Like this there are 0 chocolates. Okay, so in the packet, that means this is an empty packet. So you need to move this empty packet to the end of the array. That means all zeros you should move to the end of the array. Okay, so explanation is also given. So let us understand more from the explanation. There are 3 empty packets in the given set. Okay, so that means 3 zeros are there now. So they represent 3 empty packets. So these 3 empty packets represented as 0 should be pushed towards the end of the array. So that is the task to be performed. So he has given the input here. So input first line contains n value. Okay, so the first number represents the value of n number of elements in the array, and the next he has given this 4, 5, 0, 1, 1. Okay, so these are nothing but element of array 0 to array of n minus 1. Okay, so they represent the elements from array of 0 to array of n minus 1. Okay, but here he has given while input each element is separated by new line. Each element is separated by new line. This is given. Okay, so we'll understand this afterwards. And the output is see here. All the zeros moved towards end of the array. Okay, so 4, 5, 1, 9, 5. 45195, then 000 moved to the end of the array. So this is what the output should be. So that means you should move all the zeros towards end of the array, and all non-zero elements should appear before these zeros. That is our task to be performed. Got it? And here, before you solve this question, okay, so you should observe the input and output very carefully. Okay, so if you observe the input and output carefully, now the order of elements is preserved in this. Okay, that means how the non-zero elements appear in the array, in the output also they should appear in the same order. See, 4 after 5 is there, 4 after 5, afterwards 1 is there, 1, then after 9, 9, then after 5, okay, then followed by 0 should come. This order we should maintain, otherwise your actual output and expected output both doesn't match. Okay, so this order also we should preserve. This is one important observation to be made. Otherwise, what you can do is simply you can replace the last non-zero element from 0. Okay, just you can swap these two numbers, 0 and non-zero numbers. Okay, but if you do such a way, okay, so then the input order of elements is not preserved. Okay, so then your output may not be matching the expected output. Okay, so your test cases will not pass in such case. Okay, so what to do in such case if we want to preserve the input or the order of the elements? Okay, now second example is also given, and 6 given here. Okay, these are the elements here. So 601802, then the output should be 618200. 00. Okay, so how we can solve this? How to move all the zeros to the end of the array? Okay, so the very first thing is what we can do is you should, no doubt, you should traverse the array once. Okay, so if this is your array, so let me draw the memory diagram for this array so that you can understand how we can move the elements to the end of the array. Okay, so we'll take this example because number of elements are 6 here. Okay, so we'll take this example. This is 6 0 1 8 0 and 2. Okay, right? So then this is 0 1 2, but here are they stored in this array format? That we should understand. Okay, so in the input he has given, see here, while input each element is separated by new line. Okay, that means the way the input is provided to your program is not this way, it is not in this form. Okay, it is provided like this, each element is separated by new line, he said. Okay, so this is how your input comes, 0 2. Okay, so this is what your input looks like. Okay, it is not in this format. Okay, so if he has passing the entire array, then it would have been a different logic. Okay, but here input comes as each element, each number separately, each number comes separately. Okay, so this makes pretty simple, you can solve this very easily. So how you can solve this? What you need to do, you need to read each element one by one. Okay, and simply you can just add to one more array. Okay, so you take another array here. Okay, so say for example you take another array of size, same size, n value is known to us, no? Okay, so you take a same array of us n size here. Okay, so this is 0 1 2 3 4 and 5, array of 6. Okay, so you call this as a some array name. Okay, so result array, you call it as result array. Okay, and initially store all zeros in this, initially store all zeros in this array. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Now you read the first number. read the first number. Okay, so if it is a non-zero number, okay, so then store it at a index 0 position. Okay, right? So then read the next number. If it is 0, just throw it out. Okay, then read the next number, non-zero number, then store at a index 1, next index, store it next index. Then read the next number. If it is a non-zero, store it to next index. Then read the next number 0. Don't do any operation, just throw it out. Okay, read the next number, non-zero number, then store in the next index. Okay, so that's enough. So read all the numbers, n numbers. You run a loop and read all the n input values and directly go on storing in the result output. Now see, automatically the zeros moved to the end of the array. That is the advantage if you store all zeros initially. No need to swap any values here. Just go on, put the elements into the result array. That's it. If you print this result array, now it prints in elements in this array like this 6182220. That's what the logic is. Pretty simple. Okay, but if it has been given as an array, then you need to use a different logic. You need to solve by using a two pointer technique. Okay, so that also we will see a variation of this because it may not be of same kind this time. Okay, so there may be a change in the problem. Okay, so we should be ready for all kinds of problems techniques. Okay, so the two pointer also I'll discuss first. Let us solve this. Okay, so by using some Python code, we write some Python code for this. Quickly I'll write here. Okay, so what we'll do is we read the value first. Okay, so what we need to do first, we need to read n value. Okay, so how we can read? Int. Okay, so then say input because this is how the input is provided. Okay, so then it is like this: the first element 6, then followed by 6 array elements will be provided to you like this. Okay, so the first number n value I am reading here, this I am reading into n. Okay, so then next what need to do, you need to run a loop for this. Okay, so before that you create a result array. Okay, so I'm creating a result array, and initially what I do, I store all zeros in this array. Okay, so in Python it is a list here. Okay, so you can create a list with all zeros. Okay, so then multiplied by n you say. Okay, so n we are using capital N now, so I use capital N here, then say capital N. Result is equal to, okay, so this creates a result array of size n with all zeros. Okay, so here multiplication indicates repetition. That means repeat 0 in this list n number of times. Okay, so that means it creates a result array containing all zeros. Like this it creates. This is your result array created from this statement. Okay, so once you have result array, then what you do, you run a for loop to read this input one by one. Okay, so for I in range. Okay, so range of what? N. Number of elements is given. Okay, so for I in range n. Okay, so what this range function does, range function, for example, if n value is 6 here, no, so if you say range of 6 in Python, it generates the numbers starting from 0 to 5. 0 1 2 3 4 5. It stops at before number. This n value is exclusive. Okay, so it stops at 5 here. 0 to 5 values will be generated, and each value will be passed to this I one by one. Okay, so first 0 will be passed into I, next 1 will be passed into I. That means this loop repeats for 6 times. Okay, so first I gets 0 here, I gets 0 here. Okay, so I gets 0. Okay, so this is only to keep track of the index of this result array: 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so now our aim is to read the first number, this input first number you need to read. Okay, so what you do is you read that number. Okay, so you store that somewhere in variable called as a k. Okay, so how you can read a number? Int input, you say. Int input. Okay, so this reads the first number. That means your k contains a 6 here. Okay, so now check whether it is a non-zero number or not. Okay, so how you can check? If k not equals to 0, if k not equals to 0, okay, so then keep this in the index 0. Okay, keep in the index of I here. So if k is not equals to 0, what you do? You just say result of I is equal to k. Result of I is equal to k. Okay, so then 6 will be stored at index 0. Okay, so then it goes up. I value becomes 1. Okay, so next I value becomes 1. Then it reads the next input. Okay, so this number it reads. Then it checks 0 not equal to 0. No, false. It won't execute this. Again it goes. Okay, so I value gets 2. I value gets 2 here. Okay, so then okay, so what is happening here? I value is incrementing, index is incrementing. Okay, but we should keep track of index for non-zero elements. Okay, so for this what we do is we'll take a variable called as a something like position here. Okay, so initially position is equal to 0 we will take. Okay, so this I is not required anyhow. You can keep this I, or you can keep underscore also in Python. Okay, this is only just to iterate through the input numbers. No, so this anyhow I is not required. Even if you keep, nothing happens. You can keep underscore also, no problem. Okay, so instead of I you can keep underscore just to repeat the loop. Okay, so now here what we can do is we can use position value here. If k not equals to 0, then you can say this position indicates position of a position where the non-zero elements has to be copied. Okay, so result of position is equal to k. Once it is copied, then you move the position value to the next one. Okay, so position plus is equal to 1 you say. Okay, so better you keep this I as remove this I. Okay, so not to confuse with this, keep it as underscore. Keep it as underscore. Okay, so because we are not going to use this I anymore in this logic now. Right. So then position plus 1 is equal to plus 1 means position will increment. Okay. So after copying 6, position value will become 1 here. Okay. So then for this 0, it is not executed. Okay. So it goes up. It goes up, then reads the next number. Okay. So 1 it reads, then it checks 1 not equals to 0. Yes. Then result of position. What is position value? 1. Result of 1 is equal to k. Okay. So that means at result of 1, that means in this location, k value will be copied. Okay. So it copies the number 1 in this. Afterwards, position plus is equal to 1. Position value will become 2 here. Then it goes up. Okay, so reads the next number. It reads 8. 8 not equal to 0. Yes, result of position, result of 2. Okay, so 8 will be copied. Okay, so in result of 2, 8 will be copied here. Then say position plus is equal to 1. Position value will become 3 here. Okay, goes up and reads the next number. 0 it reads. K not equal to 0, false, it won't execute. If you this if condition, it won't execute. Then goes up, reads the next number. Okay, so k contains 2 now. 2 not equal to 0, yes. Result of position, position value is 3. Result of 3 is equal to 2 it stores. Okay, so that means at this position it stores the number 2. 2 will be stored here. So position is equal to position plus 1. Position value becomes 4. Then it goes up. End of the input reached. The loop terminates. Okay. So once you come out from the loop, what you need to do? You need to print this result array. Okay. So if you print the result array like this, or result list, if you just print, if you print this result, how it prints? It prints like this. It prints like a list here. Okay, so it prints like this 6 comma 1 comma 8 comma 2 comma 0 comma 0, which is not matching with the expected output. Okay, so you should print only the numbers present in the list without commas, space separated. Okay, so for this, what you need to do, you need to run a loop on this list here. Okay, so that's what you should do here. So for I in okay, so otherwise, what you can do is for I in what is this list name result. Okay, so for I in result, you say that means for each element of the result. Okay, so one element will be passed to I. Okay, so here what you do is you print the value like this. Okay, so how you can print, if you use just print statement result of I, you print. Okay, so each print statement prints the numbers in next line, so it will be printed like this 618, but we want in the horizontal fashion. Okay, so that means number should be printed in a row. Okay, so that's why what you can do is you can use uh, here some attribute we should use here. In Python, we use the end attribute and give a space here. End attribute. Okay, so the second attribute you should use end is equal to space. You should give space bar, double quotes, space, double quotes again. Okay, so then you can see the numbers printed in this way. So your actual output and expected output both will match. This is how you should print the numbers. Okay, so output format, in the same format you should print. Even if you print extra dot, then it won't match. This is how you should take care while printing the output. Okay, so quickly let us execute this code and see the result. Then we'll move on to another variation of the same problem. Okay, so let me just open the online browser. Online compiler. Okay, so I just open the online compiler. Then we can type here. Okay, so first we'll read n value here. So better you write the code on paper first. Okay, so check on paper whether your code works properly or not. Okay, so then you open the compiler. Okay, so in the portal you can type your code. Okay, so here what you required, you required a position variable 0. Okay, then similarly you result array you require now. So initially store zeros multiplied by n. Okay, so that means repeat n number of times. Good. Okay, so this is the variables required. So then run the for loop for underscore in range of n. Okay, so then you read each input here, something like k you can take into of input, each number you read. Okay, then you check whether k not equals to 0 or not. Okay, if it is not equals to 0, that indicates it is a non-zero number. Okay, so you add it to the result array. Then you say result of a position is equal to k. Then increment the position value. Then you say position plus is equals to 1. That's it. Okay, so then you will get the result array. Then once you come out from the loop, you print again, you run one more loop here for I in a result array. Okay, so then print it. Print result of I, then comma, end is equal to space. Give a space here. Okay, so now run the loop. Now it is waiting for the input. Okay, so what is our input? I randomly give some numbers here 6. Okay, so I give some numbers 5, name k is not defined. Okay, so k is capital here. Okay, here it is capital. I need to use small k here, right? So let us run the code again. Now it is waiting for the input. Okay, so I give some numbers randomly, something like 11, 0. Okay, so 33. Okay, so 0 again. Okay, so then 0 again, then 55. So what is happening here? List index out of a range. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here, what is the problem here? For I in result means, okay, so we get each element from the result array. Okay, it is not the index. Okay, so directly you print the I itself. That's it. You print the I itself. Okay, I is nothing but the element in the result array. Okay, so one by one element comes into I, and that I we will print here. Okay, so this 0 is extra space here. Okay, so let us run this code, and so these kind of errors you should rectify while compiling your code. Okay, so something like 44 0. Okay, then 0, then something like a 11 I give. Now you can see 22 44 11, then followed by three zeros. Okay, so your output should be printed in a row with space separated. Okay, so like this it prints the result. Got it? Yeah, so there is one doubt by while filling the application, we get to choose a field. If I apply for Python, when will I ask the question rela- related to Python? 40A and part B same for all the field. So you can just send me the screenshot. Okay, so where it is asked in the registration process. Okay, send the screenshot to my WhatsApp number, then I'll reply to you. 1622. Okay, so send the screenshot of registration where you stuck with. Okay, to my WhatsApp number, then I'll just reply to you what to do. So your doubt is whether if you select Python in the final examination also you need to uh, write a Python code only. Okay, I don't think so. Okay, so you will have options. You can choose any compiler. List of compilers will be available on the TCS portal editor. Okay, so you can choose one of the compiler: Python, Java, C, C++, Perl, R, Ruby. Okay, so many compilers will be there. So in whichever language you are comfortable, you would like to write your code at the time of exam, you select appropriate compiler. At the top right corner you will have the list of drop down list will be there. By default it may select C or C, I think. Okay, but you need to change that compiler. Okay, is it clear? Now this same kind of question. Okay, so I already solved this question in my DSA with Python series. Okay, so those who are interested, you can watch the series. Okay, so I'll show you DSA with the Python series. I have already solved this question. So you can watch here. Okay, so in my channel, this is okay, you can see here. Okay, so if you go to playlists here, so you have DSA with Python playlist. Okay, so in this playlist, now you can see here company specific programs on lists. Okay, so I discussed many programs on list data structure. Okay, so some company specific programs which were asked previously on list data structure I discussed here. So in this I discussed this program already. Okay, so you can watch the code. Let me just show you where exactly it is present. Different programs. Yeah, this is the program I discussed in that video. You can see here move all zeros to the end of an array while maintaining the relative order of non-zero elements. Okay, so sample input and output, how it should represent. Okay, so everything I discussed, the technique and also the code, what to do, how it can be generated. Okay, so the relative order if we want to maintain. Okay, so here the thing is the input is an array here. Input is an array. So when it is an array, you need to swap, and this you should uh, do in place. Okay, so in place means in the same array you should use. If you use an extra array like in our uh, case result array we have taken, no result list. Okay, so then you may run out of space. Okay, so it will be order of n space complexity. Then your code won't fit in that. Okay, but if the input is an array, then you have to use this technique here. You need to swap the elements in place. And we will try to solve one such question. Okay, so which is same asked in the Leet code. Okay, so I am trying to open a Leet code question. Okay, so you can see here Leet code moving zeros to end of the array. It is there in Leet code. If you practice on Leet code, then you will come to know. Okay, you will come to know uh, what are different test cases, private test cases and uh, public test cases. Okay, so all those things you will come to know. And then if there are any test cases missing, okay, so then you can see how to modify your code. Okay, so then you say Leet code problem. Yeah, Leet code move zeros. Here this is the same problem, move zeros, 283 problem number. Now you can see here problem number 283 here. So given an integer array nums, move all zeros to the end of it while maintaining the relative order of the non-zero elements. Example, input nums contains 0, 1, 0, 3, 12, and output contains 1, 3, 12, 0, 0. Okay, but here the input is an array here. It is not individual elements. Okay, so if the input is an array and there is a note also given, you must do this in place without making a copy of the array. That means you are not allowed to take an extra array, result array. Okay, so within the same nums only you should move the elements such that all zeros comes to the end of the array. This is called in place. Getting? Hope you can see the entire problem now. So in such case, how you should work out a solution for this. Okay, so what you need to do is, yeah, it is not allowing. I think I need to log in. Okay, so once I log in, then only it allows me to submit the code. Okay, so just give me a 1 second. Let me log in and then I'll share the screen to you. Once I log in, I'll I'm just logging into this lead code. Yeah. So let me share the screen with you. What? Visible? Now in place we need to move zeros to the end of the array. Okay. So same thing here. You should use a variable called as a position to keep track of the position of the non-zero element where it should be copied. Okay, so then here what you need to do, just you traverse this array. Okay, so traverse the input array, and wherever you find a zero, okay, and you wherever you find a non-zero element, okay, so then you swap it, zero and non-zero elements you swap. Okay, so that's how you can just use a swap method. And now let us write the code for this. Okay, so what we do is we write a use a for loop here for I in a range, so length of nums you say. Okay, so for I in range length of nums. Okay, so that means it transfers 0 to last index. Okay, so first you are getting the 0th element. Okay, so if you get 0th element, what we need to do we will see here. Okay, so initially position value is 0. Okay, all non-zero elements you should bring to the position of zeros elements. Okay, so whenever there is a non-zero element, you bring it to the position of a 0th element here. Okay, so if you say that if this nums of a 0, okay, so if your nums of 0, nums of I, okay, so if nums of I not equals to 0, okay, so what you need to do, we will write this code. For example, I value is initially 0 here. Okay, so I value initially 0 here. Nums of 0 not equals to 0. No. Is it not equals to 0? No. Okay, so then it goes up. I value becomes a 1 here. I value becomes a 1. Okay, so then again it checks nums of 1 not equals to 0. Nums of 1 not equals to 0. Yes. Okay, so that means uh, you got a non-zero element here. You got a non-zero element. Okay, so this element you move to position here. You move to the position element here. That means you swap these two numbers. Okay, so how you can swap these two numbers? You can say nums of a position comma nums of a I. Nums of position comma nums of I is equal to, then you say nums of I comma nums of a position. So this is simple code in Python to swap the two numbers a comma b is equal to b comma a. This is how you can write. Okay, so what happens here, these two numbers will be swapped here. These two numbers will be swapped here. 0 comes to the right and 1 goes to the left. Okay, so 1 comes to this position. Okay, so here 0 comes here. 0 comes to this position. Okay, so once the numbers are swapped, okay, so we should keep track of the position where the next non-zero element to be placed. Okay, so then we increment the position value. Position plus is equal to 1. Position plus is equal to 1. Position becomes a next one. That means in 0 we copied a non-zero element. Okay, so then 0 comes to the right. Automatically 0 comes to the right here. Okay, so position value will become 1 here. Then it goes up. I value becomes 2 here. I value becomes a 2 here. Here there is 0 here and here. Here both 0. So it checks here. So nums of 2 not equal to 0. No, it is 0 here. Okay, false. Then it goes to the next element. 3 not equals to 0. Yes. Then what happens? It swaps with the this element. Okay, so that means nums of position, nums of 1 and nums of this. So 3 will be coming here and 0 will come to this position. 0 will come to this position. Okay, position plus is equal to 1 you say. So position will be 2 here. Okay, so again there is a 0 like this. Then it goes up. Then it checks nums of I value becomes now 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Okay, so not equal to 0 now. Yes, then it will be copied to the next position. That means here. So position value is 2 now. So 12 will be copied into position 2 here. So 12 comes here. Okay, so then 0 goes to the last position. Okay, so then what happens? It goes to the next end of the array reached here. Okay, so then the loop terminates. The loop terminates. Once the loop terminates, then you have moved all non-zero elements to the beginning of the array and all zeros goes to the end of the array. Okay, so that's it. No need to print anything. Okay, so in place it is a moved. Okay, so in the same nums array it is moved. Okay, so that's it. You no need to return anything here. Just you compile your code and check whether it passes test cases or not. Now you can see accepted, case 1 accepted. Okay, so 0 1 0 output is 1 3 12 0 0. Expected is also 1 3 12 0 0. That's it. Okay, so test case 2 also you check here. 0 is there, 0. Expected also 0. Satisfied. So both test cases passing. In green color you got accepted. Now you submit your code. Okay, so once you submit, it tests against private test cases behind the screen. Okay, so now again this is compiled. Submit here. Okay, click on submit here. Let us see whether all test cases will it pass or not. Okay, so now you can see solution, runtime solution accepted here. Okay, so your solution is accepted here, then passed. Now you can see accepted 75 by 75 test cases passed. All 75 test cases it has passed. Okay, so it took 7 minutes to complete all the test cases. Okay, so beats 42% previous code. Some members submitted. Okay, so your code beats 42% of members code. That much how fast your code is. Okay, so like this, a simple variation of the problem. Okay, so input if changes to array, you should just swap the numbers in place. If you take one more extra array here like the previous one, okay, so then you may run out of space. For small inputs it's okay, but if your input okay constraint say here it is length of the array is 10 to the power of 4. Okay, so if nums of I is 2 to the power of 31, each element is of this much big and your array contains 10 to the power of 4 elements. Okay, so then you may get error. Okay, so space complexity error you may get. So this way you should practice the codes. Okay, so and different kind of problems, a variation of the same problem. If it is available on the Leet code or Geeks for Geeks, you try to solve all related questions of same type, so that you will come to know how to handle different kinds of inputs. So if you have any doubts in this while filling the application also, if you have any doubts, you can just uh, submit your queries in the comment section of this video. Any coding related TCS NQT or any general coding related queries if you have, you can submit all your queries in the comment section of this video. And if you found this video useful, please like the video and also share this video among your friends and help them. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also turn on the bell icon for more such coding updates. Happy learning, happy coding. Thank you, one and all.